everybody, and welcome to another deep dive with us. It's February 7th, and well, as always, that means we're diving into a whole bunch of anniversaries and birthdays.
And who knows what else we'll find along the way.
Exactly. So, to kick things off, we got to start with a name everyone knows.
Yeah?
John Deere, born way back on this day in 1804.
Oh, yeah. John Deere, of course, the steel plow.
Right, the steel plow. But it's easy to just say steel plow, but
It's a lot more than that, right?
what was the impact?
It's huge E.
Yeah.
I mean, imagine trying to farm the Midwest with one of those old cast iron plows designed for the sandy soil back east.
Yeah.
It just wouldn't work.
Yeah.
Deere's steel plow, though it was more durable, it was lighter,
Oh, wow.
and it let farmers cultivate just massive amounts of land.
Was he really?
Yeah, he kind of opened up the whole agricultural boom that shaped America.
So John Deere didn't just invent a tool. He really plowed the path for a whole new era.
I like that.
And speaking of shaping landscapes, let's go from plows to punches. Because February 7th, 1882 marks the last bare knuckles boxing match in Mississippi.
Oh, wow.
John L. Sullivan knocked out Patty Ryan.
You know, I hate to be that guy, but the fight was actually just across the state line in Alabama.
Really?
Yeah.
I wonder if they moved it to give Ryan a fighting chance, even if it was on another state soil.
Maybe.
Man, talk about a powerful punch. But now when we think about fighting today,
It's a lot different.
you almost got to compare it to something like UFC. What do you think?
Yeah, totally. And you know what's interesting is how different people see fighting now compared to back then.
Yeah, for sure.
And you got to think the rules, the safety measures, they play a huge role.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, bare knuckles boxing, it was brutal, almost like gladiators back in Roman times,
Right.
And today, even though combat sports are still intense, there's so much more emphasis on the skill, the strategy.
Oh, yeah.
There are all these regulations to protect the fighters.
It makes you wonder, though, if that urge to see a fight is just part of us as humans, but we've just found different ways to channel it now.
Yeah, it's fascinating, isn't it?
Well, from the fighting ring, let's switch gears to the open skies.
Huh?
Because on this date, Amelia Earhart, she married publisher George P. Putnam. That was back in 1931.
Oh, yeah.
She really embodied that spirit of adventure, pushing boundaries, defying expectations.
She was remarkable, for sure. Her courage, her determination.
Absolutely. But speaking of pushing boundaries, February 7th, 1936, President Roosevelt did something kind of interesting. He authorized a flag specifically for the vice president's office.
Really?
Yeah, I know. It makes you think, did the VP not have a flag before that? What did they do? Just wave a napkin around with second place scribbled on it? But seriously, why a VP flag all of a sudden in 1936?
Well, it was a time of so much change and uncertainty with the Depression and, war was looming on the horizon.
Oh, right.
So creating a specific symbol for the VP, it probably reflected how much more important the role was becoming
Right.
and the need to project this image of strong, unified American leadership.
Yeah, it's about more than just a flag then. It's symbolism. It's about projecting stability.
Exactly.
Now let's switch gears again into the world of imagination.
Okay.
Because on this day in 1940, Disney's Pinocchio premiered. I mean,
Backlies.
who doesn't love a good talking puppet story?
Speaking of Pinocchio, have you seen that joke going around online about him?
No. Which one?
After his wood carving career, fizzled out.
Yeah.
It involves a different kind of adult entertainment.
Oh, yeah. Pinocchio and the Naughty Pine.
That's the one.
It's amazing how this classic children's story can inspire that kind of modern humor.
Right.
But on all jokes aside, Pinocchio, it endures because that message of honesty really sticks with you.
It does.
We all want to believe in the power of truth, even if we don't always get it right ourselves.
It really taps into something fundamental, doesn't it?
Yeah.
That our actions have consequences, and honesty is the foundation of trust.
Absolutely. And sometimes history forces us to really think about those values. Like February 7th, 1943, when the U.S. government started rationing shoes during World War II, people could only buy 3 pairs a year.
Wow.
3 pairs a year. That's crazy to think about now.
That's less than some people buy in a month.
I know. It's amazing how people just adapted.
It really makes you think about our modern consumer culture, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Rationing forced people to think about what they really needed instead of just what they wanted.
Right.
And to think about sharing resources.
Right.
Imagine trying to do that today.
Oh, man, it would definitely be a shock to the system.
Yeah.
But maybe there's a lesson there about being more mindful about what we buy, even when there's plenty to go around.
Absolutely.
It's about making choices, understanding that our individual actions have an impact on the bigger picture.
Well said.
Yeah.
And, speaking of big impacts, this very same day, in 1965, a much darker chapter unfolded.
Oh.
The U.S. started regularly bombing North Vietnam.
Oh, yeah.
There was a huge escalation of the Vietnam War.
Right.
But get this, on that same day, but in 1971,
Yeah.
women in Switzerland, they finally got the right to vote.
Wow. It's almost like a snapshot of history itself, right? Progress and conflict, hope and despair, all happening on the same day. And man, talk about delayed gratification. Those Swiss women had to wait to make their voices heard at the ballot box.
They did.
Maybe that's why they're so good at making chocolate. Patience is a virtue. But in all seriousness, it just goes to show that even in a country known for peace and neutrality, the fight for equality, it's an ongoing process.
Absolutely. Speaking of celebrating milestones, though, today is packed with them. It's Send a Card to a Friend Day.
Oh, nice.
It's National Girls and Women in Sports Day.
Awesome.
And for all the science fans out there, it's National Periodic Table Day.
And we can't forget the most important one,
It is.
National Fettuccine Alfredo Day.
Oh, yes. A feast for the senses. And hey, with Valentine's Day coming up, maybe a romantic plate of pasta is in order.
Now you're speaking my language. But before we all run out for a big pasta feast, we got to roll out the birthday carpet for a few notable folks. First up, basketball star Isaiah Thomas, turning 36 today.
Happy birthday, Isaiah. And quarterback Matthew Stafford is 37 today. There's a lot of talk about him switching teams, so
Yeah.
this birthday could be extra interesting for him.
Big decisions on and off the field. Now for a little blast from the past. Ashton Kutcher, the guy who made us all wonder, dude, where's my car? Turns 47 today.
Oh, wow.
Time flies.
It does. And speaking of milestones, comedian Chris Rock hits the big 6 there today.
60. I wonder if he'll be making any jokes about that Oscar night incident.
Maybe.
Hopefully he can laugh about it now. But seriously, Chris Rock, he's a comedic icon. 60 years young is just another chapter in his story.
And country music legend Garth Brooks is celebrating his 63rd birthday today.
63.
He's still going strong, selling out stadiums all over the world.
I bet he'll be celebrating with a big bowl of Thunder Rolls tonight.
I see what you did there.
All right. Maybe I'm getting a little carried away with the food puns.
Just a bit.
And last but not least, we have James Spader, the star of The Blacklist, turning 65 today.
He's great in that show.
He really has that intense, mysterious aura down pat. But, it's fascinating to think about all these people born on the same day, but in such different times, they've all left their mark on the world in their own way.
It really shows the amazing diversity of human experience, doesn't it? And all the different possibilities that each day brings.
It does, and that kind of leads to a bigger question we've been exploring today. How much has the world really changed? I mean,
It's amazing to think of.
imagine trying to explain smartphones or the internet to someone like John Deere.
Or a self-driving car.
Right. He'd probably think we were describing some crazy science fiction story.
Totally.
But it's mind-blowing to think about all the progress we've made, especially with technology and how our society has changed.
It is.
But then it also makes you wonder what the next 200 years will bring.
It's exciting and a little scary at the same time, right?
Yeah, for sure. But one thing's for certain.
What's that?
Change is the only constant. And that's what makes history so fascinating. It's not just names and dates, it's a story that's still being written. And who knows, maybe one of our listeners today will be part of shaping that story in the years to come.
That's an awesome thought.
It is. But for now, we got to bring this part of our deep dive to a close. But don't go anywhere just yet. We've got more fascinating stuff to uncover.
Stay tuned.
Unlock the magic of one-of-a-kind collectibles at Desert Radio AZ Emporium on eBay. Dive into a world of t-shirts, artwork, flags, and beyond. Whether you're after something new or a vintage find, we've got treasures waiting for you. Visit today at Desert Radio AZ Emporium on eBay. Your journey into the unique awaits.
Okay, we're back for the final stretch of our February 7th deep dive. And man, my head is spinning from all the incredible stuff we've talked about.
I know, right? From inventions to social movements to entertainment, it's been a whirlwind tour through history.
It really has. And it got me thinking, what will people say about our time years from now? What will be the big things that define the early 21st century?
That's a great question. I think they'll definitely look at all the technology like AI and social media and how connected the world's become.
Imagine trying to explain TikTok to someone from like John Deere's time. They'd probably think we'd lost our minds dancing around for little internet videos.
Right. But seriously, all that tech has changed how we do everything, talk to each other, get information, even how we build relationships.
Oh, yeah, for sure. It's like we're still trying to figure out how much has all changed the world.
Totally. But I also think they'll look at all the big social and political stuff happening now. The fights for equality, climate change, people challenging the way things have always been done.
Right. It's like a huge time of change, both with technology and how we live. It can feel kind of overwhelming, to be honest, trying to keep up with it all.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
But that's where history can help, I think. It reminds us that change is always happening, and that every generation faces its own problems and its own chances to make things better.
And that even little things can make a big difference in the long run. Like Rosa Parks refusing to give up her seat on the bus, or those kids leading the March for Our Lives.
Exactly. They were brave, and they started movements that are still going strong today.
It's pretty inspiring when you think about it. We all have the power to change things, no matter how small.
I agree. And as we wrap up our February 7th deep dive, I think that's what I really want people to take away from this.
So what kind of mark do you want to leave on the world? What stories do you want to tell? What fights do you want to fight? What dreams do you want to go after? It's your life, your story. You have the power to make it amazing.
And maybe someday another deep dive will be talking about the impact you had on the world.
That's a goal worth shooting for. But until then, keep exploring, keep learning, keep digging deeper into the world. You never know what you might find.
And always remember, history isn't just boring dates and names. It's something we're all creating together.
Well said. Thanks for joining us, everyone, on our February 7th adventure. We'll see you next time for another deep dive into the awesome world of history.